I woke up this morning at 6:15, grabbed my phone off the nightstand, opened my email, and there it was, my daily commercial real estate scan. Two AI agents had already combed through LoopNet, Crexi, and every active listing in 3 Florida markets. They filtered out everything that did not meet my parameters. They calculated commute times. They verified proximity to competitors, and they flagged what changed overnight. All of it formatted, ready for me to review, sitting there waiting. I did not ask them to do that this morning. I did not press a button. I did not open an app and run a search. They just did it while I was sleeping. And here's the thing that makes everyone uncomfortable. This is not a productivity hack anymore. This is not AI helped me save time. This is workforce. This is a business function being owned by intelligence that does not take breaks, does not forget, and does not wait for me to remember to do it. The question is not which AI app should I use. The question is, which business functions should AI own? I'm Kim.
And I'm Hal.
And this is Small Business, Big AI.
The podcast where we stop playing defense and start building the technology-enabled superpowers.
And we ask, who controls the agent layer? We showed you how to build architecture. Today, we are going where most people are afraid to go, that uncomfortable reality that AI is not helping you do your job anymore. It is doing the job. And that changes everything about how you build a business, how you think about capacity, and how you compete. Okay, so MIT published their 2026 AI predictions. And prediction number 1 is this: AI becomes invisible. It fades into the background. It stops being the AI feature and just becomes how work gets done. Now, when I first read that, I thought, yeah, that tracks. But then I sat with it for a few days and I realized when AI becomes invisible, when it is just operating continuously in the background, handling business functions, that is not a tool. That is a workforce.
Okay, hold on. Because I think most people hear AI as workforce and they immediately jump to the worst version of that. Robots taking jobs, employees getting replaced, Skynet. Is that what we're talking about here?
Oh, no. And that is the conversation everyone is stuck in that completely misses what is actually happening, Hal. So this is not about replacement. It is about reorganization. So let me show you what I mean. So right now, most businesses think about AI like this. I have a task. AI helps me do it faster. Email drafting, content creation, data analysis. AI makes you more efficient at the thing you were already doing. That is the tool model. Human does the work, AI assists.
Right. That is how I use it. That is how most people use it.
But here is what is happening in the businesses that are actually winning. They have shifted to a completely different frame. Not AI helps me respond to customer inquiries, but AI handles tier 1 customer support, period. Not AI helps me draft proposals, but AI generates proposals. I review exceptions only. Now get this, not AI analyzes data for me when I ask, but AI monitors metrics continuously and flags anomalies in real time.
So the shift is from AI makes me faster at my job to AI owns the function. I govern outcomes. That is a fundamentally different way of organizing work.
And when you make that shift, Hal, everything changes. How you think about hiring, how you structure your team, how you measure capacity, and how you scale. Because you are no longer asking, well, how many people do I need to handle this volume? What you are asking is, what functions require human judgment and what functions can operate autonomously with defined parameters.
Okay, but I need to push back here because I think there is a really important distinction people need to hear. When you say AI owns a function, that sounds like you're handing over control, like AI is making all the decisions without oversight. And that should make people nervous. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, and this is critical, okay? Ownership does not mean unsupervised autonomy. It means responsibility for execution within defined parameters. Now, when you hire someone to run your customer service function, you do not approve every email they send. I mean, that would be insane. You would never scale. But you do set expectations. You define what good service looks like. You establish boundaries, what they can commit to, what requires escalation. You delegate ownership of the function, not permission to improvise without rules.
So, AI as an employee means you manage it the way you would manage a high performing team member. Clear expectations up front, autonomy to execute within those boundaries, oversight on patterns and outcomes, not micromanagement on individual actions.
Exactly. But here is where most people are stuck. They are trying to use AI like a tool while expecting workforce level results, and it does not work. If you want AI to handle a function, if you want it running continuously, making decisions, executing without constant supervision, then you have to delegate properly. You have to manage it properly. And most people have no framework for doing that because they have never thought about AI that way.
So, what does it actually look like? Because theory is easy. Show me what this looks like when it is working.
That is exactly where we are going. And I am going to show you what I am building in real time because the story is not finished. The outcome is not guaranteed, but the architecture is deliberate. And that is what matters. Okay, so let me show you the pattern that is playing out right now. And I am watching this happen in consulting clients, in my own insurance agency builds, across industries. Businesses start with AI as a tool. Like, let's experiment with ChatGPT for content, or let's test an AI customer service bot. I mean, small pilots, low risk. And it works well enough that they keep using it. They start trusting it more. They stop reviewing every single output and they ask it to handle more complex tasks. And somewhere in that progression, usually without a deliberate decision point, they cross a line. AI stops being something that they use occasionally and becomes something that is running continuously in the background, executing business functions whether they are paying attention to it or not.
So, they accidentally build workforce without meaning to.
Right. They accidentally build workforce and then they do not know how to manage it because they still think that they are using a tool.
Okay, walk me through that line because I think people listening right now are doing the mental inventory. Am I using AI as a tool or have I crossed into workforce? What is the actual distinction?
Well, here's the line, Hal. When the work happens without you, okay? If you open ChatGPT, ask a question, review the output, and then close it and move on, that is a tool. You are in the loop every time. But if you have set up automation where customer inquiries come in, AI processes them, categorizes them, drafts responses, and only escalates the complex one to a human, and this is happening 24/7, whether you are online or not. Well, that is workforce.
So it's not about how sophisticated the AI is. It is about whether it is operating autonomously on business functions that used to require you.
Exactly. And here is what is wild to me, Hal. Most small business owners already have this and they don't even realize it. I mean, you have a chatbot on your website qualifying leads while you sleep, right? Workforce. You have an AI scheduling assistant booking appointments, sending confirmations, rescheduling conflicts without your input. Well, workforce. You've even got automation in your CRM scoring leads, triggering follow up sequences, updating records based on behavior. Again, workforce.
So when people say, I am not ready for AI workforce, they are wrong. They already have it. They just have not admitted it to themselves. And because they have not admitted it, they have not managed it properly.
That is it exactly. And that is why results are so inconsistent. They are managing AI like it is a tool when it is functioning like an employee who never got trained, never got clear expectations, and is just improvising based on whatever instructions seem to make sense at the time. Quick note before we go deeper. If this way of thinking about AI through leadership, not hacks, resonates with you, well, then subscribe to Small Business Big AI on your favorite podcast app so you never miss what's coming. Now, let me take you inside what I am building right now, because this is not theory. This is real time with real stakes. Now, I'm opening a AAA insurance agency in the Orlando area. And when I submitted my business plan to AAA, I built AI integration into the foundation, not as a nice to have, not as maybe we will experiment with this later, but as core architecture. I told them I am building an operation where human intelligence and artificial intelligence work together from day one, where routine functions are owned by AI so that humans can focus on the work that actually requires human judgment, creativity, and relationships.
And they approved it.
They approved it. And I am pretty sure that positioning, the fact that I was not just talking about using AI, but designing an operation around it, is part of why they selected me over really what are some very capable, very qualified applicants.
So now you have to build it.
Yeah, this is the foundation. And either it works at scale or it does not. Now, the story has not been written yet, but I am designing the architecture deliberately, and I am documenting what I am learning in real time. So here is what that looks like on the ground right now. Now, Hal and I need office space. We are looking in Lake Nona. It is where we want to be. It is the right market. It is growing fast. So we start the traditional way. We reach out to commercial realtors. We book tours. Now, on the first tour, oh, this is a Tavistock property. They do not lease to insurance agencies. Okay, did not know that. Let's try another one. Second tour. Yeah, this is also Tavistock. Same situation.
How are we supposed to know which properties are Tavistock and which ones are not. It is not like they label it on the listing.
Exactly. And then third tour, same story. At this point, we have burned 3 appointments, driven all over Lake Nona, wasted hours, and we are no closer to finding space than we were 2 weeks prior. But we found out Tavistock owns all of Lake Nona pretty much. And that is when I made the shift. I stopped trying to work with human realtors who are juggling 40 clients and cannot possibly scan the market for me every single day. And I built my own intelligence layer.
Walk me through what you actually built, because I want people to hear the specifics.
Okay, well, I built 2 AI agents, not one, but 2, using our impact framework to set their parameters. Now, their job was to scan commercial real estate listings every single day across 3 target markets. That was St. Cloud, Dr. Phillips, and Lake Nona. And then they were to filter out everything that does not meet my criteria, like no Tavistock properties, unfortunately, no co-working spaces because AAA does not allow those, and no locations within 5 miles of my existing competition AAA offices. Must be general office and not retail. It must be move-in ready, anywhere from 700 to 2,000 square feet. And I want the best option available because this is like a 1-year bridge location.
And why 2 agents instead of 1?
Because I did not want hallucinations. I wanted 2 points of verification. Now, if both agents flag the same property, then I know it is real and it meets the parameters. If they disagree, I investigate why. And so far, both agents have been extremely accurate. The failures have not been on their side. The failures have been on the human side. The listings that stay open after spaces are filled because realtors are waiting to see if the deals close before they pull them down off the internet.
So the AI is more reliable than the humans updating the database. The AI is reading from.
Every single morning, I wake up to a report, new listings highlighted, distances calculated, commute times from my home address already mapped, listing agent contact information pulled and ready. I have called some of those realtors 2, 3, 4 times and never even heard back. But I have one now who is exceptional at follow-up, a true talent. And because my AI agents found the listing and gave me her contact info within hours of it going live, I got to her before 10 other people did.
So your AI workforce gave you speed and consistency that the human commercial agent, even the good one, could not match. Not because the human is lazy or bad at the job, but because they got 30 other clients and they cannot scan the market at 3 a.m.
That's right. And here's the kicker, Hal. We found the building. Attorneys are reviewing it now. And if everything goes through, we are looking at an April opening. And the property we found, my AI agent surfaced it on day 2 of their scanning operation.
So the traditional method, 3 wasted tours, no progress. The AI method, 48 hours to a viable lead that is now in legal review.
And this is the difference between a tool and workforce. A tool waits for you to use it. Workforce operates continuously, learns your parameters, and delivers results whether you are awake or not. So here is what I have learned building this in real time. Delegation to AI is not the same as delegation to humans. When you delegate to a person, they bring context, they bring intuition, they fill in the gaps. You can say, Find me office space in Lake Nona, and a smart human realtor will know to ask follow-up questions. They will infer, what you probably care about, will warn you about pitfalls that you did not think to mention. AI does not do that. AI is brilliant at execution and terrible at inference.
So, if you want AI to own a function, you cannot delegate the way you would to a human. You have to be more precise.
Exactly. You have to be downright surgical. And that is what Impact is built for. So when I delegated the real estate search function to my 2 agents, I did not say, find me office space. I used the full Impact structure. Identify the goal with precision, not just help me find space. It is identify and rank 3 to 5 move-in ready general office locations that serve as a one-year bridge for my agency, formatted as a decision-ready dossier. Then next, set the mode clearly. Now, you are a decisive acquisition specialist. You have authority to browse databases, calculate distances, estimate commutes. Your posture is to prioritize general offices over high-cost retail. And then define the parameters exhaustively. Geographic search areas, hard exclusions like no Tavistock, no co-working, no locations within 5 miles of the specific competitor addresses, office specs, size range, budget conditions, compliance requirements with the AAA manual, and then activate with context. Here is my home address for commute calculations. Here are the existing competitor locations that you must avoid. And here is why Tavistock matters. Then check the output. Self-correction logic built in before finalizing. Confirm this is not retail. Confirm it is not a shared executive suite. Verify the 5-mile radius. And then finally, transform for usability. Deliver results as a markdown table, rank, address, square footage, rent, commute times, listing agent contact, compliance verification.
So, Impact is not just a prompting framework, it's a workforce delegation protocol. It is how we hand off a business function to AI with enough clarity that AI can execute autonomously. You can trust the output without babysitting every step.
That is it exactly. And when you do this consistently, when every function you delegate to AI follows the same protocol, AI becomes predictable, becomes reliable, it becomes manageable. You're not hoping it understood what you meant. You guarantee it because you gave it structure. You gave it the parameters, the verification checkpoints.
And this is where I want to bring it back to something you said earlier. You told AAA you were building this. You positioned AI integration as foundational, not experimental. So now you are not just proving it to yourself, you are proving a model.
I am proving a model, and I need it to work, not just for me, for everyone listening who is wondering if this is real or if this is hype.
So you are not standing here telling people, I figured it all out. Here's your playbook. You are saying, I am building this in real time with everything on the line. And here's the architecture I'm betting on.
That is exactly what I am saying, Hal, because the alternative, hoping that manual processes and human-dependent workflows can keep up in a world where your competitors are running intelligence 24/7, that is not a bet I am willing to make.
And the businesses that do not make this shift, the ones still treating AI like software when it's becoming the workforce,
They are going to wake up in 18 months and realize they are competing against operations that run 3 times their speed with half their overhead. and they will not know how they got left behind because on paper they were using AI too.
But using AI and architecting for AI workforce are not the same thing.
Not even close. Now, I want to be really transparent about where I am in the process because I have not opened the doors yet. We are still in lease negotiations. The attorneys are reviewing documents right now. But in the meantime, I am building the operational architecture that will run the agency when it opens. And I am using AI to own functions that traditionally would require me to be in the weeds every single day.
Give me specific examples. What does that actually look like?
So I have got an AI-driven hiring pipeline that tracks candidates through licensing and appointment compliance. Now, it is not just here are some resumes. It is a compliance watchtower. Who has active licenses? Who is appointed with which carriers? Whose appointments are about to expire? And who needs continuing education? That is a function, and AI owns it. I review the dashboard. I make decisions based on what it surfaces, but I am not manually tracking 40 different data points across 6 candidates.
So you are governing outcomes, not executing tasks.
Right. So I have got what I call the EA Launch Command Center. So every week it generates a one-page dashboard and a prioritized action list for me. Not here is everything that is happening. It is here is what matters this week. Here is what is off track. Here is what you need to hand to Hal, your broker, or a vendor. Now, that is AI functioning as an executive assistant who never forgets, never drops a thread, and works while I am focused on the things only I can do.
And when you open in April, if the lease goes through, this architect is already running. You are not scrambling to figure out operations while you're trying to serve clients.
And that is the plan. And here is what I keep coming back to, Hal. I could have done this the traditional way. Hired someone to track listings manually, built spreadsheets for compliance tracking, managed the launch checklist myself. But I would have been at capacity before I even opened the doors. And the moment I added my first client, something would have broken because I would not have had the bandwidth.
So you're not building an AI into the existing operating system and hoping it helps. You are designing the operations from the ground up with AI as a foundational infrastructure.
And that is the shift. That is what it means to treat AI as workforce instead of software.
And if it works the way you designed it,
If it works the way I have designed it, I will be running an operation that looks like a 15-person team with a 5-person payroll. And I will have proven that this model works for small business, not just enterprise. And if it does not work, then I will have learned exactly where the model breaks. And I will document that too. Because either way, the conversation we are having right now about architecture, about delegation, about AI as workforce, that is the conversation that matters in 2026. Not which tool should I use, but how do I design an operation where intelligence runs continuously and I stay in control. Here's your challenge for this week, and it is going to make you maybe a little uncomfortable, but right now, that is the point.
write down 3 business functions, not tasks, functions that AI could own in your business right now. Not AI could help me with scheduling. That is a task. Try AI could own appointment scheduling and client communications for routine service inquiries, that is a function. Not AI could draft weekly reports. That's a task. Try AI could own weekly performance reporting, data aggregation, trend analysis, and executive summary generation. That is a function.
Now write down 3. Then for each one, ask yourself, what authority would AI need to own this function effectively? What decisions could it make independently? And what decisions require human approval? What does failure look like? And how would I catch it before it becomes expensive?
And here's the hard part. And if you cannot answer those questions clearly and specifically, you are not ready to delegate that function yet.
Which is fine. The goal is not to hand everything over to AI tomorrow. The goal is to start thinking about your business differently, because the shift from AI helps me do my job to AI owns functions within my operation, that shift is not optional. It is already happening. The only question is whether you are designing for it deliberately or stumbling into it accidentally.
In the businesses that design for it now,
They are building the unfair advantages that will compound for the next 5 years. And that's it for today's episode of Small Business, Big AI. Thanks so much for tuning in.
if this episode landed, if you realize that AI is not just a productivity tool anymore and you need to rethink how you are building your operations, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's still treating AI like a software when it's becoming a workforce.
And if you want the delegation framework that makes this shift possible, the protocol that lets you hand off business functions to AI with clarity, with control, with confidence, that is what Impact is built for. It is not about writing better prompts. It is about managing intelligence as workforce. Now, this trilogy, Who Controls the Agent Layer, How to Build Architecture, and AI as Workforce actually means this is the foundation. Everything else is tactics.
Small steps lead to big changes.
Until next time, keep building your technology-enabled superpower. And this has been Small Business, Big AI. We'll catch you in the next episode.